Y'all remember Trials, right? That one series by Red Lynx that had you calling your motorcycle character bitch more than Jesse Pinkman? Bitch! Well, let's face it, Trials games can be pretty addictive. Whether we were completing goals, doing backflips, or seeing just how bad we could fuck up a character's body, I think it's safe to say I never thought so many people would pay to play a game that involves dry humping a motorcycle up a mountain.
I gotta hump the fucking thing!
After 5 games and 9 spin-offs, the next title in the Trials series is finally set to release in just a month. So in light of this spectacular event, let's take a look at the history of the Trials franchise. In the year 2000, a little-known company by the name of Red Lynx created a game called Trials, a physics-based motorcycle game based on the sport of observed trials or motorcycle trials. I'd honestly never even knew about this sport until I began research on this video. I just assumed a bunch of guys decided to put mountain biking on steroids, but at least according to redbull.com, Trials is a real sport and it's pretty badass and worth a look. The first Trials game was created in Java and made its way around the internet as a free web game. The objective of the game was quite simple: make it to the end of the course and try not to fall. Of course, this is easier said than done, as a split second on the tilt button can lead to the end of your run. I can only imagine the number of people who yelled at their parents' clunky beige CRT monitors while playing this game. If you think new Trials games are hard, the originals seem incredibly unforgiving. However, the game's garnered a massive audience, with millions of players enjoying this frustrating yet addictive game. This popularity eventually led to 4 2D expansion titles, including Trials Bike Basic, Bike Pro, Construction Yard, and Mountain Heights between the years 2000 and 2005, progressing in each iteration with better visuals, animations, maps, and character selection. The game resembled the retro Mastertronic title Kickstart 2, the first real game based on motorcycle trials, released way back in 1987. However, when asked about the game's origins and influences, lead designer Antti
Ilvessuo
also cited Excitebike for the NES, as well as a countless myriad of games that influenced each team member in their own way. However, I do doubt that the people who created this game even knew how big their game was about to become. In 2007, Red Lynx released the first official sequel to the Trials main series with Trials 2, this time using Adobe Flash rather than Java. Like the others, this game was an online hit, delivering better graphics, animations, and visuals while still retaining the addictive magic present in the original game. Because of its massive success, especially on the Flash Games website Miniclip, Trials 2 2nd Edition or Trials 2 SE was released just months later in 2008. And damn was it an upgrade. For the first time since its release in 2000, Trials went 3D. Well, 2.5D. The game presented a whole new physics engine, several new levels, as well as community features like high scores, ghost racing, global rankings, and even a replay system, as well as downloadable add-on tracks. The game was and is still pretty well received, with a very positive rating on Steam even to this day. Call me a masochist, but this game was pretty satisfying in the way that if you got hurt, you got hurt. I mean, you could seriously break your neck and die in this game.
In the arms of the angel, fly away.
But it looked so cool. I don't know. The game also introduced 4 game types: race, flip, wheelie, and dynamic mode, as well as over 51 tracks and even other challenges and achievements to unlock. It's safe to say that Trials 2 SE really paved the way for future Trials games, as everything else after this would pretty much be in 3D and come out for the PC as well as other consoles afterwards. Following another Flash spin-off, Trials Dynamite Tumble, the Trials series made its console debut with Trials HD on August 12, 2009 on Windows and on the Xbox 360's Xbox Live Arcade. This title significantly improved its 3D physics engine, making rider motions more realistic while allowing for more interaction between the bike, rider, and other 3D obstacles in the game. Your motorbike would interact with explosions, your body would fly through objects, and the whole game engine was just awesome. In fact, a full CPU core of the Xbox 360 was devoted to handling the game's new physics engine alone. Trials HD, like its predecessors, featured its typical level-based mode, but also included tournament mode, which now awarded medals for completing tasks like having multiple fault-free runs, while skill games inserted players into different difficult challenges like riding on a sphere cage or flying through hoops with fire coming out the back of your motorcycle like it had a bad day at Taco Bell. The game also featured Xbox Live connectivity, which allowed players to not only race and compete against people around the world for spots on leaderboards, but it also allowed players to create, share, and download user-made courses created in the newly added in-game level editor, which could add to the 35 included levels already in the game. Replays were also added for the 5,000 fastest runs per course, which were very useful in teaching players methods to survive and speed up their runs. Trials HD was incredibly successful, reaching over 300,000 units sold in its first month and over 2 million less than 2 years later after its release. The game also saw 2 DLC releases throughout 2010, known as the Trials HD Big Pack and the Trials HD Big Thrills Pack, with the latter featuring 10 user-made courses, with cash being rewarded to the top 3 contestants of the quote-unquote Big Thrills Track Creation Competition. The game received exceptional ratings, receiving an 86 out of 100 aggregate score on Metacritic, a 9 out of 10 review score on Eurogamer, and the awards for Best Overall Arcade Game and Best Innovation of 2009 on Xbox Live. Trials HD really became the title that put the series on the map, not only due to its replayability and constant difficulty, which were factors that allowed games before it to gain some ground, but also because it was able to reach millions more homes through the Xbox Live Arcade. Thanks to its success, it was only a matter of time before the next installments of the Trials series to release. Following the success of Trials HD, RedLynx would release a free compilation game for Windows that combined the early 2D Trials games from 2000 to 2008, intended to allow players to revisit the 10-year history of the now critically acclaimed game. In 2012, RedLynx once again returned to the Xbox 360 for the release of Trials Evolution. This time, not only were players able to compete for high scores, but they were able to compete against each other in real time, either on the same console or over Xbox Live. True to its inspirations, this game actually started to play like a 3D Excitebike, which is something that was pretty badass for the time. Unlike its predecessors, Trials Evolution allowed players to swerve left and right along the course, allowing for more freedom and choice in what driving line to take across the track. The game's single-player mode also allowed players to earn medals as well as money, which could be used to customize the rider as well as the look of the motorcycle that they were riding. Also differing from Trials HD was the game's map editor. Not only were players able to use the track editor present in the game's previous installment, but a new Pro editor was available to use. The new editor allowed for more creative games to be made using its visual programming language, from first-person shooters to even crackhead pyromaniac versions of Angry Birds. Don't get me wrong though, people got really creative with this new editor and made some truly impressive designs from something that started as a bike game. A huge improvement Trials Evolution made over its predecessor was also its file sharing system. As opposed to the track sharing functions of Trials HD that only allowed tracks to be sent between people on your friends lists, Evolution featured an entirely in-game interface, including categories, search functionalities, and everything that you might need to find tracks that were all uploaded and available for download. The game was also set outside, which I know it isn't really like a big step up, but it sure does make the game feel a lot more open. RedLynx also added new training levels that provided more guidance for new difficulties that would be present as the game progressed. The game, unsurprisingly, did extremely well, receiving a 90 out of 100 Metacritic score and a 9 out of 10 Eurogamer score, which matched, if not exceeded, those of Trials HD. The game would also appear on the PC as Trials Evolution Gold Edition, featuring all of the levels and skill games from Trials HD as well. In the end, it's safe to say that Evolution definitely did a great job carrying the great Trials name. Oh yeah, and its soundtrack was just as heavy as ever. For a game called Trials Evolution, I think Darwin would have been proud. On April 15th, 2014, Trials made its debut to the 8th generation of video game consoles, as well as its debut on a PlayStation console with the title Trials Fusion. Set in the year 2042, this version of Trials was the first to allow for freestyle tricks in the air, as well as the ability to drive a quad bike in certain levels. And before I talk more about this game, let's just take a look at the title screen. You know you're in for some real shit. The game also featured multiplayer for up to 8 people at a time, but online multiplayer connectivity wouldn't be available until over 8 months after release. The track editor was also once again added to the game, but was panned for its lack of tutorials and guidance for new players. Despite being praised for keeping the magic of the Trials series alive, Trials Fusion wasn't necessarily the highest praised game of the series. Metacritic scored the game 80 out of 100 and Game Rankings gave it a 79, with many critics citing the game's lack of clear steps forward from its predecessors, Ubisoft's inclusion of paid DLC, and its lack of online multiplayer on release. Still, Trials Fusion is still considered by many to be an amazing game and is still worth playing today. In addition to Trials Fusion, 2014 also saw the release of Trials Frontier, Red Lynx's first attempt at a Trials game on mobile. And, well, it wasn't the best. Many critics panned the game because it actually used a freemium model, which basically meant the app was free, but you'd have to pay money in order to get better bikes that would actually help you to clear the very hard levels of the game. Yeah, it's not the best game, but what can I say? It's Trials for a mobile device, and for big fans of the series, this game could actually be some fun. In 2016, Trials once again visited the future, which in 2019 is technically our present, I guess. Trials of the Blood Dragon for Windows, Xbox One, and PS4 is an odd game to say the least. It's a combination spin-off of Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon mixed with the Trials series, and it sure does feature more than just riding a motorcycle. In this Hotline Miami-esque world, we follow the story of Roxanne and Slater, the children of Rex Power Cult, a legendary tough man who was the protagonist of Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon. Rather than just riding your bike, you're also pitted against enemies that you can fight on foot in typical platformer style. The whole concept is creative to say the least, but the game was simply just too extra, but at the same time, kinda lacking. Reception of this game was more or less mixed, as people didn't see the need for a game like this to simply exist. Metacritic scored this game 57 out of 100, with critics citing its gimmicky approach, lack of enough Trials levels, and general mediocrity as their main gripes. For fans of Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon, however, the game at least provided a continuation of the game's story, which definitely gave the game more potential and allowed Far Cry fans who had never played Trials to give it a try. While this game certainly is not the best in the Trials series, it still has some pretty fun gameplay and its flashy 80s graphics do look pretty sick. I gotta give it that. At E3 2018, Trials Rising was announced, and the game looks pretty damn good. Set in courses around the world, this iteration of Trials aims to be as amazing and creative as ever. Its gameplay previews have showcased its single-player and online multiplayer modes, and it's also slated to have party modes, including a 2-player tandem mode. This game's gonna be like Search and Simulator, isn't it? The game will also feature a track editor that includes over 8,000 assets to choose from Trials HD up to the new game. Over the last year, the game has actually gone through some pretty significant beta tests, and Trials Rising is set to launch in February of this year, and its gameplay footage looks pretty promising to say the least. Fun fact, Trials Evolution featured Easter eggs that actually led to real-life discoveries. Trials Evolution contained a secret message that was discovered by players who pieced together wooden planks found in the game with messages on them, which translated to a special maneuver that, when executed properly, triggered a song to play.
Listen, the secrets are hidden in the brighter tones.
When entered into a spectral analyzer, a message was discovered in Morse code from the song, which pointed to a website that posted cryptic images daily. These images were discovered to be references to the names of scientists that spelled out a message: Big Freeze with no complete end. When this message was entered into the website, users were greeted with coordinates that led to a treasure hunt, with locations in 4 cities in 4 different countries around the world, where packages with different contents were found. A link to a video discussing the treasure hunt thoroughly can be found in the description below, but the end result is still unknown as the keys found in each package describe the same date and location in the future where the treasure will be uncovered. Midday in year 2113, first Saturday in August, underneath the Eiffel Tower, and Antti Ilvessuo himself said he has made arrangements for this event to happen even after his own death. From its humble beginnings as an online browser game to its recognition as one of the best arcade racing games of the last 10 years, Trials has really exceeded its own expectations. Not only was the Trials series able to prove that small gaming studios had the potential to really grow, but it also showcased the power of the Xbox Live Arcade and its ability to truly give a game a lot of credit and popularity over its platform. From its days as a 2D Java game to its impressive present-day 3D visuals, Red Lynx and the Trials series have truly gone a long way in terms of graphics, modes, and their core gameplay, to give gamers and longtime fans something many of them didn't even know that they wanted. It's exciting to see what the Trials series holds for the future, and whether or not the series continues to thrive, there's at least one thing we know for sure. This series is f***ing awesome.
I just happen to like trials, I like danger, I like fire, I like nitro, I like getting in wild, I like.
Did you guys like this video? If so, you guys can rate and subscribe and comment down below and tell me what you guys want to see next and what I might have gotten wrong or what I could do better next time. Thank you guys for watching and I'll see you guys soon.
But you can't beat me, so baby, get